Hi, I'm Candice Malcolm, and this is the Candice Malcolm Show. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. We have a great episode for you today. We're going to be breaking some big, major news on the program a little bit later on. But I wanted to start by commenting again on our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, and some of the things that he's doing that are, well, let's just say, making me a little bit worried about the direction of our country. So it's June. June is my favorite month of the year, not just because it's my birthday, but it's the wonderful time where it's the start of summer, the kids are finishing school. It's always just been the start of summer, the time where you get to spend more time with your family, spend more time in nature. In fact, this morning, my son and I went for a wonderful hike. There's a trailhead near my house, and we went for a loop, a walk around. And I love it. I love being in nature. I love being with my family. That is what June and that is what summer represents to me. And I imagine that's what summer represents to most Canadians. But there is a small fringe subset in our society and in our culture that thinks of June in a totally different way, right? They think that June is the start of Pride season. Remember, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister, Anita Anand, tweeted, she posts this on social media. It's not just Pride Day anymore. It's not even Pride Month anymore, folks. It's Pride season. So we have to devote the entire summer to focusing on sexuality and people's personal preferences, which to me is just totally outrageous, right? And so, look, I spent an entire episode talking about Pride season with a guest, Sean Newman. It was a great episode. We actually had to put it behind the paywall because it was too spicy for YouTube. So, if you want to check that out, the title is Carney Loses Vote in the House, Refuses to Open the Books. Plus, it's Pride season now. Go check out that episode because we do a deep dive into this. So let's bring it back to the prime minister, though, right? So on yesterday's show, I talked about how the things that Mark Carney has been doing so far is actually kind of based. He's doing a lot of things that conservatives should be excited about, right? Bill C2, I'm cautious about some of the civil rights overreaches on civil liberties, but part of that bill cracks down on illegal asylum seekers and people trying to circumvent our border and our laws, and it tries to crack down on some of that, which I'm here for. Next, we had Bill C5, which I talked about in depth on the show yesterday and earlier in the week with Premier Danielle Smith. And that bill creates a framework to push through pipelines and other energy projects. It even allows the government to override some of the overzealous environmental rules put forth by former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Okay, so Mark Carney's doing a lot right. But as many people in the comments will probably be pointing out, is this real? Is he the real deal? Or is he a wolf in sheep's clothing? Is he a con man? Is he actually going to follow through with a bunch of this? Well, I think some of his actions so far when it comes to the pride stuff, it's tipping the scales. It's letting us know that maybe the mask is slipping. Maybe he is a woke radical. So I want to point to first this video of Prime Minister Mark Carney on Friday, where he is speaking at an Eid celebration in Ottawa. And Mark Carney says that all Canadians must come together to celebrate Muslim values. He said that these are Muslim values, these are Canadian values. So Muslim values are Canadian values. Let's play that clip.
We can gather in different places of worship, but all of us come together, all of us must come together around the values of Eid. These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.
So, typical politician pandering to ethnic groups. But then the interesting thing is, just 3 days later, here is the same prime minister, the same Mark Carney, raising the not just the pride flag, okay? They used to have the rainbow flag that represented gay pride. Now they have this hideous, ridiculous monstrosity of a flag called the Pride Progress flag or the Progress Pride flag. Here he is raising this awful flag at a ceremony on Parliament Hill in Ottawa. It's hard to see the flag in that picture. I'll get another image of it so you can see what we're dealing with here, right? So it's not just the pride flag, it is the pride flag. And then they've stuck a triangle on, which I believe represents trans people. So it's to include the trans. That's what the baby blue and the baby pink are. And then they also include different shades of brown to sort of include, I guess, what they call BIPOC people, people who are not white. And then they also have a yellow circle in there. So really, it's just like rainbow mafia of every different thing, every different personal preference, every different thing that makes them different. All the things that all the groups that are kind of railing against us Canadians, Western civilization, whatever you want to call it. And so here's Mark Carney kind of trying to do both, right? Happy Pride Canada. This reminds me of Justin Trudeau. Remember back in 2017 when he wore those silly socks? Justin Trudeau is known for his socks, but he wore a pair of what were called hipster Muslim socks. They were supposed to represent gay pride, but also Ramadan. Okay. For those of you, the uninitiated, I mean, just think about it for a second, right? Do Muslim values really include gay pride? Like, someone remind me, what do Muslims believe when it comes to gay people? How are gay people treated in most Muslim countries? It's not exactly something that aligns perfectly, if you know what I mean. And yet Justin Trudeau was just like perfect cognitive dissonance here. And just look at the way the media covered it, right? Here's Maclean's Justin Trudeau wore our Muslim hipster socks. The Guardian, a UK paper, can Justin Trudeau's socks bring peace to the world, right? The media were swooning over this nonsense. The New York Times, Justin Trudeau's sock diplomacy. But the idea is, wearing Muslim socks to a gay pride parade didn't really accomplish anything. It probably just angered a bunch of different groups. And that was sort of Justin Trudeau in a nutshell. And now we're wondering, like, is that the same thing for Mark Carney? Is he walking us down the same path? Does he have the same beliefs that he can just sort of be all things to all people? He can go over here and talk about how great Muslims are and Muslim values are Canadian values, and then turn around the next day and celebrate all the things that would not be couth in a Muslim country. I think a lot of Canadians are starting to, let's just say, see through this and realize that this is not what we want for our country. I want to transition to talk about our clueless immigration minister. This is really an unbelievable exchange here, covered by Juno News. A Liberal minister dodges questions on illegal immigrant numbers. So I'm going to play this clip. It's about 51 seconds long, and it is just like the exchange we showed last week. We had an exchange with Conservative MP Michelle Rempel Garner last week against our immigration minister Lena Diab. Well, they're at it again in a special session on Monday night. So Michelle was asking the immigration minister how many of the 500,000 illegal immigrants currently in Canada have been removed. Let's play this clip.
How many of the 500,000 people that are not supposed to be in Canada have been removed? Just the number.
Minister.
So thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Again, people whose visas expires or who are here that should not be here need to leave. If they do not, that is a CBSA.
Member.
Here's the thing. The minister cannot set levels if she doesn't know how many people have left. So it is her job. So I need to know how many people of that 500,000 has left. How about this? Does she even know? Does she have any clue?
Minister.
So again, Mr. Chair, my role here tonight is not to talk about people leaving and people that are here that have visas expired and so on in terms of how many have left. That is completely a CBSA function, and the public safety takes care of.
So, yeah, in other words, she has no idea. Our immigration minister is totally clueless. She doesn't know the answer. Michelle Rempel Garner really pointing that out. And the exchange continued. So, when asked about the Liberals' plan to remove these illegal immigrants, again, Minister Diab said that they're expected to leave voluntarily. We have rules and we expect people to follow those rules. See, this is Canada's problem in a nutshell, right? Like, we create a country and set up a country for honorable people who will follow the rules. And the problem is a lot of people around the world from different countries and different cultures don't share those core values of doing the honorable thing and doing what's right. Okay. And so we have a lot of people that come into our country that just completely ignore our rules and don't care. And they come illegally, which means that they broke our rules from the onset. What makes you think that they would do the right thing and be honorable and leave, right? If they didn't follow the rules coming in, they're probably not going to follow the rules coming out. Regardless, again, here is our immigration minister being totally clueless.
She won't tell us how many have been removed. What's the plan to get them to leave?
The minister.
So, Mr. Chair, again, to you, through you, to the member. We have rules in this country, and we expect people to follow those rules.
So again, our immigration minister is totally clueless, and the buck stops with Prime Minister Mark Carney. Like, he has to set up our country and our system in a way that is going to be successful, that is going to function. And again, just relying on people to do the right thing not going to work in 2025. At a press conference, conservative leader Pierre Poilievre goes, I think, just about as far as I've ever heard him go on immigration. He said that conservatives want severe limits on population growth to reverse the damage done by the liberals. And just note how the media are kind of like heckling him and pressuring him in this clip, really sort of making sure he doesn't. Go too far in immigration. The media in Ottawa, it's like their job to try to ensure that conservatives never say the thing that they should say, that they always try to fall in line with the Laurentian elite. They pressure conservatives to be more liberal, basically. And here is Polyev pushing back and saying something quite bold for a conservative. Let's play that clip.
We want severe limits on population growth to reverse the damage the Liberals did to our system. The population has been growing out of control. Our borders have been left wide open. This has caused the free flow of drugs, human trafficking, illegal migration, and much worse.
Oh, I guess the clip cuts off before the heckling starts, but I will tell you that they were heckling, and again, the media see themselves as the old guard, making sure that conservatives aren't too conservative, and that they stay liberal. Okay, folks, I want to transition a little bit and go to some big breaking news that's happening over at Juno News, and to do that, I am joined by Cosmin Georgia. Cosmin is the managing editor over at True North, and he's going to walk us through this story. So, Cosmin, thank you so much for joining us today. Why don't you walk us through this unbelievable story? We're going to talk just about the headline now, and then we're going to push it over to Juno News because let me just tell you, folks, the content of this story is so unbelievable that we can't put it on social media. We're going to put it behind our paywall, Juno News, because the details are so shocking that I do think we'd get censored for this information, even though it's based on a report of the federal government funding this kind of stuff. Okay, Cosmin, can you walk us through the story, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, we uncovered the fact that the Social Sciences Humanities Research Council, a federal grant organization that distributes taxpayer funding to various academics for doctoral research, surveys, um, different types of studies and reports, essentially funded to the tune of $20,000 a study on pedophiles and their sexual attraction to children as young as infant and baby age. And this study was essentially compiled by a University of Ottawa researcher, a PhD candidate who received these funds for doctoral research, and they put out a survey that
Okay,
was
wait.
also
We're gonna hold that bit for the paywall,
sure.
Cosmin, because it is just too
Yeah.
unbelievable. So, folks, the story headline is "Sick: Federal Grant Paid Pedophiles for Disturbing Sex Research." If you want to see this interview, head on over to junonews.com, become a premium subscriber behind the paywall. You will see, and we'll go through the details. You're going to want to see this. It's in line.